Okay, so we'll start. Now, so we have done with social stratification. You want a recap? Social stratification. Okay, so today we are going to discuss theories of social stratification is what we'll be discussing. So yesterday we discussed this and we understood that society have differences, right? And these differences are natural or social. Now, with this difference, when you attach values, what will happen? So the difference become inequality when values are attached. Right? So the differences can be natural or social, but when I say inequality, it is always social. So when I say sex, that's a biological difference. Right, that's merely a difference, but when I use the word gender, there is some kind of values involved, so that is talking about some kind of inequality. Okay. Similarly, when I talk about rich poor also, there is some kind of inequality comes. Now, what you do is, you can't study each and every instances of inequality, so we try to identify some patterns of inequality. So the pattern of inequality is what we understood as social stratification. So as of now, this is it. It's very simple. This is what we understood, and there are 4 stages also. Like, what the first stage? Differentiation. You complete it. So we discussed this is the first stage, and the second stage there will be ranking. But here this ranking what I'm talking about, it is occurring at the individual level, like a informal rank order. Right, institutional, it's not institutionalized, it's an unrecognized informal rank order which happens at the individual level. And then third one, evaluation. So here when I talk about evaluation, this evaluation happens at the cultural level or social level. Here also evaluation is there, but that is between the individual, ranking also between the individual. But when it comes here, this evaluation, I mean cultural evaluation, and that will become formalized and institutionalized, and that becomes the value system of society, and that will be passed on to the next generation through cultural reproduction. Okay, and then finally the 4th step, that is rewarding. Okay, so you are with me so far? Stratification you understood. Now we have also mentioned about open and closed system, right? So what is open system? It is based on mobility. Mobility means movement, right? So when I say I am mobile means I can move. Mobile phone means something which you can carry, right? That's why it's a mobile phone. So mobility means you can move from one place to other. In this context, mobility means you have different strata. So either you can move up or you can come down. That's what mobility. So you are a poor person, you can become a rich person. Or you are a rich person, you can become a poor person. You started as a junior clerk, you can become a manager. Is that mobility? Yes. Right? So that's mobility. That's what social mobility means. So mobility means movement from one place to other, one strata to other in the context of stratification. So I'll be talking about this. That's the last topic. But understand, just mobility means movement. If movement is possible, that system is what? Open system. You can change your position. That's open system. Class system is a very clear example of open system. You make money, you become rich, you become upper class. You lose money or you get education, you get better job, move to the top. Okay? So there is a possibility from lower level you can move to the upper level. So that means open. Now closed means movement is not possible. You born here, you end here. You born as a Brahmin, you end as a Brahmin. You born as a Dalit, you end as a Dalit. Right? That's a closed system. But again, I told you one thing, I'll give more discussion on this. One session I'll spend tomorrow. But still, let me tell you, there are no system which is purely open nor purely closed. Even in caste system, even if you are a Shudra, you can migrate to some other area. You can claim you are a Brahmin, imitate the lifestyle of Brahmins, and then you will be treated as Brahmin. At least next generation onwards, it will become Brahmin. So that is possible. That means even in a closed system, there are still limited avenues. Avenue means chances or possibilities. Similarly, even in an open system, I can simply say you are a poor person, you make money and you become rich. But how can you make money? Right? For that, you need skill, and to get that skill, what you need better education, right? Or to make money, you need money. Right? Yes or no? One way. If you need to do business and make money means you need to have money first. Otherwise, yeah, you get education, you can become means you need that good quality education. But very poor person, the kind of education he get, and the rich person's son, the education he get will be different. So, as long as the society is completely equal, then it is okay. If everyone is getting equal opportunity, then we can say it's open system. But as long as society don't provide equal opportunity, you cannot completely say it's open. Yes, open theoretically, but practically hindrances are there. എന്നുവെച്ചാൽ നമ്മൾ പറയുന്നത് എന്താ, മലയാളത്തിൽ തടസ്സങ്ങളുണ്ട്. എന്തൊക്കെയാണ് തടസ്സങ്ങൾ? ചിലപ്പോൾ എനിക്ക് ബെറ്റർ ഫിനാൻഷ്യൽ ബാക്ക്ഗ്രൗണ്ട് ഇല്ല, എനിക്ക് ആ ഒരു എഡ്യൂക്കേഷൻ അവിടെ പോയി പഠിക്കാൻ പറ്റില്ല, അല്ലേ? അല്ലാന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ എനിക്ക് ബെറ്റർ മണി ഇല്ലാത്ത, ഐ ഡോണ്ട് ഹാവ് ദാറ്റ് ഗുഡ് ഹെൽത്ത് ഓൾസോ. അങ്ങനെ ദർ ആർ ഹിൻഡ്രൻസസ്. സോ പ്രാക്ടിക്കലി ദർ ആർ ഹിൻഡ്രൻസസ്. തിയററ്റിക്കലി നമ്മൾ ഓപ്പൺ ആണെന്ന് പറയുമെങ്കിലും ക്ലാസ് സിസ്റ്റം തിയററ്റിക്കലി ഓപ്പൺ ആണ്. ഇനി ഒന്നുമില്ലെങ്കിലും ഈവൺ ഇഫ് യു മാരി സമ്മൺ ഹൂസ് റിച്ച്, യു ക്യാൻ ബിക്കം റിച്ച്. ബട്ട് അങ്ങനെ ഒരാളെ കല്യാണം കഴിക്കണ്ടേ? പാവപ്പെട്ട ആർക്കെങ്കിലും റിച്ച് ആയിട്ടുള്ളവരെ കല്യാണം കഴിക്കാൻ പറ്റുമോ? No, you can't, right? Then you need to try a different way. Okay. So we discussed mobility briefly, but I'll discuss that as the next topic. Open closed system means if it is possible, open. If it is not possible, closed. Based on this, we need to discuss the dimensions of social stratification. So we discussed stratification. We need to discuss dimension, because they can ask you separately a question, dimensions of stratification. There also, first you talk about stratification, then talk about open closed, then talk about dimension. I'll make you write, I'll discuss one by one, right? But tell me, what are the dimensions which you know? Here itself, what are the different dimensions available? At least 3 you can mention here. Gender, class, gender means male, female, class. Is there a third gender? Not here, but yes, okay. Again, then class, upper class, lower class, middle class, right? We all are middle class, but still within that also there are divisions can be there. But still, class you can see here. Caste, there can be, right? From Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. Okay, so this 3 at least is visible, if not race or ethnicity and all those. So that dimension I will discuss separately, and then we need to explain which one is open, which one is closed. One by one we need to explain. I'll make you to write that. But now, since we are fresh, we are starting, I'll start with this. Okay? Theories of social stratification. There are 3 theories we need to prepare. 1, the functional theory. Then we have conflict theory by Marx, which I have already told you that I will be covering with Marx. Right? When we start thinkers, there we will cover. Then we have a Weberian theory. That either we can cover in Weber or that we can cover here itself, because it is independent. Here we cover or there we cover, it is independent. Here it is covered, we can cover it here itself. But Marx, it is same. Entire discussion of Marx is about this only. Inequality, capitalism and all. So Marx I will cover there. Weber I'll try to cover here itself. So what we need to do now? Functional theories of stratification. There are mainly two we need to cover. One from Parson. Okay, Talcott Parson. Parson already will be coming in thinkers, but not this theory. This theory we will study here. It's just one paragraph, very simple concept only. I'll explain that and it's over. Parson theory of stratification. And then comes the next and the most important one, that is Davis and Moore theory of stratification. So this theory is what they separately ask. Now they will ask you question in this way, Davis and Moore theory of social stratification. Or they will ask you functional theories of stratification. If they ask functional theories of stratification, you need to talk about Parson and you need to talk about this. This will just come in one line only. I mean one paragraph only. But this is the main theory, Davis and Moore theory of stratification. But it's very, very simple only. Only the name looks difficult, otherwise it's very simple. Now, let me tell you what is this theory is about before we discuss the theory. See, this theory is like this. These two guys, they'll give you some propositions. Okay, about social inequality, stratification. I'll talk about that points, the propositions that they give. And then what happens is, there is someone called Melvin Tumin. Okay, he comes and raises some objections to these propositions. Okay, so these two, they came, gave some proposition. That's basically the understanding on stratification. And Melvin Tumin comes, raise some objections. So we'll have to see this, we'll have to see this. So what happens? I tell something, then you raise objection. Then what I'm supposed to do? I will have to clarify that, right? So again, Davis and Moore will give some clarification. So this is the theory. If Davis and Moore theory is asked, what you need to write? Davis and Moore's proposition you need to write. The theory is in the form of certain propositions. And then you will list down that proposition. Very simple. Then comes, this has been objected by Melvin Tumin. We'll write that objections. And then he give clarification and we'll write that. So they can ask you question, what is Davis and Moore theory of stratification? How Melvin Tumin objected? Or even simply they ask Davis and Moore theory, still you need to write this. If they ask functional theory, you need to write both. So now with this, is it complete? It is not complete. So anything you write in sociology, any theory. So this theory part is done. You need to also write criticisms of that theory. Now you may think that this objection is a criticism. This objection is criticism by one person. Right? I can criticize in a different way. Marx would have criticized in a different way. Weber would have criticized in a different way. So I'll talk about Marx criticism, I'll talk about Weber criticism, etc. So simply Melvin Tumin's criticism or objection is part of the theory itself. But when you're writing the answer, you talk about Davis and Moore proposition, Melvin Tumin objection, Davis and Moore clarification, and then finally general criticisms. Marx criticized like this, feminists criticized like this, Weber criticized like this, different thinkers will use. Okay, now are we ready to go with this propositions? See guys, it's very simple. You can just imagine why you are sitting here and why you are preparing for this. Same stratification for the, now before that, let me tell you what are these functional theories. So far you're okay. Stratification we understood. We understood briefly about mobility, open, closed, dimension, and theories. This is how we need to learn. Let's get into theories. Now why this is called as functional theory? That's the first question that we need to answer. Why functional theories? Because the functional theorists consider anything existing in society. It is existing because it is fulfilling some vital functions for society. If it is there means definitely it will have some functions for society. So society itself is keeping that. Why? Because it is doing some functions for the society so that society will survive. So if anything is there, just the fact that something is existing, that means there is some function. Okay, any institutions, inequality is existing means inequality is providing some very vital functions to society. So what it could be, what function inequality can provide? If manual scavengers are not there, that function is not getting done. So society again will be in chaos. Rich need to be there, poor need to be there. If rich is not there, poor cannot survive. If poor is not there, rich cannot survive. Everyone cannot be equal. That society won't survive. You got my point. So simply I told you what is functional theory. What is functional theory? Or what will be their point? I'll just try to substantiate this is there because there is some function for this. Why it is existing? Because it has certain functions. Otherwise it won't. Society itself will remove that. If it is having no relevance, society itself will do something and it will be removed automatically. But why still existing? And you are doing a lot of efforts. Government is coming up with a lot of efforts, a lot of schemes, but still why inequality is widening? Because it is having some function. Suicide is there. So how they will think? Suicide is fulfilling some function. Otherwise, it won't be there. So some people are committing suicide, but it is helping some others. For example, farmers committing suicide. It is helping some other farmers. Otherwise, government won't open the eyes, right? Why this MSP, minimum support price, or all these schemes, insurance schemes, crop insurance, etc. is there? Because someone have committed suicide, so now government know there is a requirement to protect farmer. Got it? Right? Crime is functional. For them it is functional. Certain rate of crime is normal for any society. If crime is not there, is there any relevance for police station? Judiciary? No. Now suddenly if something happens, society collapse, right? So certain rate of crime is normal so that society will be in balance. So ultimately, I just want to make you understand that the moment I say the word functional thinkers, functional theorists, they are trying to identify the functions. Okay, something exists in society means what? It's fulfilling some vital functions for the society. Otherwise, society itself will remove it automatically. But if it is still continuing means it is functional. Crime is functional. Okay? Suicide is functional. Inequality is functional. Anything you see in society, I have that perspective also. Then it's opposite perspective, conflict. What they will tell, it will be exact opposite that I will discuss in Marx. That's the exact opposite of this. It's not functional, it is dysfunctional, or it is opposite. So what we will get, we'll get a positive view of anything. We will have a negative view also. When we study Durkheim, he is a functionalist. We see everything in functional terms, whether it is suicide or crime or anything. But when we study Marx, we see everything as conflict or opposite. So what we are going to do here, we are identifying the function of inequality. That's what functional thinkers do. Okay, so that you understood. So functional theories are basically focused on the functions that any institutions fulfilling in society. If it is existing means it's having some function. Your job is to find its functions. Okay, so now let's start with Davis and Moore's theory of social stratification. Social stratification. So let's start with the propositions first. These are very easy. Once you learn this, you will never forget it. Okay. Now if I tell that our society have different positions, will you agree it or not? society is having different positions, right? Yes or no? Police, teachers, engineers, doctors, IAS officers, IPS officers, professors. So there are certain roles, there are certain positions. All these positions are equal or not equal? Different. Different, right? A doctor and a teacher is different. A doctor and IAS officer is different. IAS officer and a judge is different. Some are more important, some are less important, right? So one thing is sure, society is made up of different positions, and these positions are doing some functions, right? Judges are doing its functions, doctors are doing its function, manual scavengers are doing their function, tea shop that vendors are doing their function, right? Teachers are doing their function. So every society is composed of positions, and they do some functions in terms of their roles, right? And some of these positions are more important than others, right? So different societies made up of different positions, some of which are more important. Like IAS officer position is more important than others. Okay, so society is made up of different positions, some of which are more important position. Now, can I fulfill or fill that most important position with any random people? No, a judge's post, can I fulfill with anyone? Just pick anyone and fulfill that post, fill that post, or IAS officer post. Why this exam and everything is there? You cannot choose anyone simply for that position, right? So, more important position need to be handled or taken by person who have more skills. Yes or no? Or who is capable of that position. So what my point is, society is made up of different positions, right? Some of which are functionally more important, and functionally more important position need to be filled with talented people, not anyone, right? So you need talented people for this position. Now, how to get the talented people? Now, to acquire talent, why you are here? You are trying to acquire that whatever is required to become a future administrator, right? You are trying to learn and everything. So you need to undergo training, right? So to acquire that talent, you will have to undergo a lot of training, sacrifices, etc. So you need training, sacrifices. Right? So to get the talent which is required for the important position, individuals have to undergo training, sacrifices, then only you will acquire that. Now after doing all this, let's say someone have done with a chartered account, they have done with that. They have studied day, night and everything, or in your case also, and then you get that, right? So that's how that position is filled. So to get the talented people, can you get it at a cheaper cost? No. Do you think you can get at a very low salary? No. You need to give better rewards, right? So now things are very clear. Society is made up of different positions. Some positions are more important than others. This functionally more important position need to be filled with talented people. For that you have to undergo training and sacrifices, right? Now to get these people who have undergone training, sacrifices and acquired the talent, you need to give some high rewards. So to these positions, now how to attract these people to that position? You need to give rewards. Otherwise, yeah, you got I have the talent, but I am not attracted to that. I can do some easier job. So if you need to attract the talented people, you need to give high rewards. So IAS officer, it's a very minor number of people who get through. But what is attracting you? Is it social service? Definitely no, right? It is the rewards which are attached with that position. You know what you are going to get there. So there are higher rewards attached to the positions which are functionally more important in order to attract talented people. Now, you have seen some positions are there, some are more important than the others. Now, when you attach differential rewards, naturally what it will create? Different strata, right? Differential rewards means strata is created. So, naturally, the strata is created because of this differential reward. You can't give same reward to everyone. Then no one will do the tough job. I can do the easier job, I can get the same reward. No one, will you be sitting here afternoon like this? From the morning onwards, these guys are sitting. You have attended somewhere and coming here? No, right? Only because you get these rewards, you're expecting that. So there is a differential distribution of reward, can you see? Right? Otherwise, I don't want to put this much effort if I want to pass a PSC exam or a banking exam. Very less, effort is what I need to give, not this kind of 15-16 hours. Right? So when you undergo such kind of training and sacrifices, you need to be adequately rewarded. That is why there is a differential distribution of rewards. Now, when there is a differential distribution of rewards, naturally what is created? Strata is created. So according to these guys, stratification is nothing but a system which ensure that the important positions are filled with most talented people by providing adequate rewards. That's it. So what are the proposition? These are the proposition. Society is composed of different positions. Any problem with that? No. Some are functionally more important than others. Any problem? No, right? These are very much common sense only. How come this be a theory? This is very common sense, right? Now, to fill the important position, you need most talented people. To acquire the talent, you have to undergo training and sacrifices. To get those people who have done the sacrifices and everything, you need to give some rewards. So when you give rewards, that create differential distribution. That creates stratification. So stratification is nothing but it's a system which ensure that in a society, the most important positions are filled with most talented people through differential distribution of rewards. Okay. Now, what's next? That's the propositions. Now, objections. So you can see objections. Okay, so what he says is, firstly you are saying some are functionally more important. This one, Melvin Tumin will question. So what he says is, how to judge the relative importance of a position. It's just like, you know this question, chicken or egg first, right? Is it the mango or the seed first? Teacher or a doctor is unique. Which one is more important, teacher or a doctor? Without teacher, there is no doctor. Without doctor, the teacher is also finished. Right? So which one is more important? That's the question. You are saying there are different positions, some are functionally more important. But what Melvin Tumin says is, how can you say that? How to judge the relative importance of two positions? Physical strength where parameters Melvin Tumin Davis and Moore discuss. There are some other parameters in which you can do that. Davis and Moore is discussing that. But the question, you got it right. He is saying some are more important, but he is questioning what? This guy, Melvin Tumin. Melvin Tumin is questioning how to judge the relative importance of a position. Is there any specific criteria to judge doctor is superior or a teacher is superior or IAS or IPS is superior or a judge is superior? But Davis and Moore will clarify. That's the next step. So you got the first question. Second, what he says is, yesterday we mentioned this point. Rewards are considered functional. You can give rewards, but this can be considered functional only if society give equal opportunity to all. As long as society is not giving equal opportunity, then that is not considered functional. Because not everyone is getting equal opportunity to reach to that level. You are saying it is open system. You are saying society is having position. Everyone can reach there by acquiring talent and sacrifices. But is it possible for everyone to acquire talent equally? No, equal opportunity is not there. Some have more opportunities. Right? So that is one question. If society give equal opportunity, then rewards are functional. As long as society is not giving equal opportunity, it's not functional according to Melvin Toomin. Now third one, what he says is, that is just for the sake of criticism. He's saying you have to undergo training and sacrifices to acquire talent. What Melvin Toomin is saying is, trainees do not go any kind of sacrifices unless some suspended earning, or mostly this cost will be taken care by parents. Right? You are just coming here, attending the session for what? According to Davis and Moore, this is for training, and you are doing a lot of sacrifices. What Melvin Toomin is saying is, your sacrifice is only some suspended earning during this time, because you are not working this time. You might got other employment, so you sacrifice that. Yes, that's the only sacrifice, and cost of this training and everything is taken care by your parents. So there is no other sacrifice from your side. That's what another criticism. And also, what these guys are saying is, it is functional, right? People are dependent upon each other in strata. But Melvin Toomin says this creates hostility and distrust when there is divisions. So it is not functional, it is dysfunctional. So the main question is this: how to judge the relative importance of a position? Rest of it just for the sake of criticizing. Now, what happens next? Clarification. So in clarification, he says, Davis and Moore, they will clarify like this. It is difficult. Yes, I do accept. We do accept. You cannot simply say doctor is superior over a teacher, or a teacher is superior over a doctor. It is very difficult. But you can definitely understand the relative importance. It is difficult but not impossible. Now, two ways in which you can do that. One is, which one is functionally more unique? Teaching or doctor? This profession, which is more unique? Doctor is more unique. Teacher, and tomorrow you can be a teacher. I am never a teacher. My taste and everything is different. But accidentally I became a teacher from 2010 onwards. Right? Then even now also I teach for almost 9-10 hours a day. Even morning from 9:30 to 3:30, it's just a commentary which I used to give. And then after that I'm coming and again standing. So it's teaching. That means anyone can be a teacher. But no, I cannot be a doctor. Right? So which one is unique? Right? Similarly, if you compare IAS officer and a doctor, which one is more unique? The doctors can become IAS officer. Not every IAS officer can become a doctor. Right? Now, what I mean to say is, which one is more unique? Like, in simple terms, you can even say which one is less in number. More doctors are dependent on an IAS officer. Entire district dependent upon an IAS officer. Right? Which one is more unique? IAS officer position is more unique. That position is more unique. So, which one is more unique? That's the way in which you can judge. So, of course, it may be difficult, but not impossible. Right? So, which one is more unique? Second way is the degree to which one is dependent on the other. Which one is dependent on the other more? Whether a teacher dependent on the doctor more, or a doctor dependent on the teacher, or a doctor dependent on an IAS officer, or an IAS officer entire district depends upon what? IAS officer, because there is one district collector or district magistrate only. But that's not the case with doctor. Right? You can have, even in a circle itself, you'll see a number of doctors. Correct? So two ways in which you can understand the importance of position or positional importance. One, To what extent it is unique? 2, the degree to which one position dependent upon the other. Okay, so that's it. Then you can talk other criticisms. He's saying rewards are necessary, otherwise society will be in chaos. This is the main clarification which is required. Okay, so we can write this. Now before that, let me also tell you about Parson. This is very simple. So yesterday we discussed about norms and values, right? What is norms? Expected behavior. What I am expecting from you, what you are expecting from me, that's the norms and value of this class. Similarly, when you go to the society also, there is expected behavior from you, right? That's the norms, that's the values that we follow. Certain belief system, that's the value. Norms are the expected behavior. When you violate norms, that's what? Anomy. Or you deviate from norms, that's what? Anomy or deviance. Deviating from norms. So both are same. Okay, anomy or deviance are same, which is normlessness, going against the norms. So now you know every society is based on norms and values, right? So Parson says every society is based on certain norms and values in terms of consensus. Consensus means what? We mutually agreed certain things. So if I talk about the norms and values of this class, we have some mutual agreement among the students, among teacher and student, among the teachers and the academy, right? So we have some consensus that we reached, and that's why you are sitting here, I'm teaching you. Correct? Society also, it's like that only. Every society is based on norms and values in terms of something which is accepted by society, that is consensus, right? And every individual try to follow the norms and values, right? So society is based on norms and values. Individuals try to follow the norms and values. Individuals not only try to follow norms and values, they also tend to evaluate themselves based on their conformity to the norms and values. ഞാൻ എത്രത്തോളം norms and values follow ചെയ്തു എന്നുള്ള ബേസിൽ ഞാൻ എന്നെ തന്നെ evaluate ചെയ്യും. So individual even evaluate themselves on the basis of conformity to the norms and values. To what extent I followed norms and values, I evaluate. So according to Parsons, social stratification is nothing but those who follow norms and values or the rules of society is rewarded properly and adequately, and that will create a strata. It is very simple. Okay, so let's write. ഇന്നലെ എവിടെ സ്റ്റോപ്പ് ചെയ്ത് ലാസ്റ്റ് വേർഡ് പറഞ്ഞാൽ മതി. റിവാർഡിങ് സ്ട്രെങ്തനിങ് ദ ഹൈറാർക്കി എന്നാണോ എൻ്റെ ചെയ്തത്? ഓക്കെ, അപ്പോൾ നമുക്ക് സോ വി വിൽ സ്റ്റാർട്ട് വിത്ത് dimensions of stratification. We will answer that. Then we move to theories of stratification. So when I talk about dimension, I will explain further whether it is open system or closed system, what are the different dimension, and what the name of that stratification system. Then only that answer is complete. So give a subheading: dimensions of social stratification. Dimensions of social stratification. It is always argued that every society is based on some patterns of social stratification, on the basis of different criterias. On the basis of different criterias. Okay, different stratification systems. Okay, sorry. Society is based on some pattern of social stratification. Full stop. Full stop. Some patterns of social stratification. Full stop. Now, next sentence. On the basis of different criterias, different stratification system can be identified. Different stratification system can be identified. These types can also be understood. These types can also be understood in the form of most commonly understood dimensions. Most commonly understood dimensions on the basis of which the patterns of social inequality are identified. Okay, every type of social stratification is based on some dimensions. Full stop. In every society, more than one stratification system exists. More than one stratification system exists, which implies the existence of multidimensional pattern of inequality. Okay, so nammal last sentence endha idhe. In every society more than one stratification system exists. If you consider this class as society, more than one stratification system exists or not? Class, caste, gender. അത് തന്നെയാണ് എന്ത് ഡയമെൻഷൻ എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. അതിന് മുമ്പത്തെ ലൈൻ എഴുതിയേക്കുന്നത്. എവറി സ്ട്രാറ്റിഫിക്കേഷൻ സിസ്റ്റം ഇസ് ബേസ്ഡ് ഓൺ സം ഡയമെൻഷൻ. അതാണ് ഈ പറഞ്ഞ ഇറ്റ് കുഡ് ബി ക്ലാസ്. ക്ലാസ് ആണെങ്കിൽ എന്തൊക്കെയാണ് ക്ലാസ്? വാട്ട് വിൽ കം ഇൻ ക്ലാസ്? ഇറ്റ് കുഡ് ബി എഡ്യൂക്കേഷൻ, ഇറ്റ് കുഡ് ബി യുവർ ഇൻകം, റൈറ്റ്? ലൈക്ക് ദാറ്റ്. Caste means ritual background. Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. That's based on purity. Brahmins are considered more pure. Below that Kshatriya, below that Vaishya, Shudra. Dalits are considered impure. Okay. Right. Next paragraph. On the basis of avenues of social mobility. Avenue means chances, choices. Okay. AVENUE. On the basis of avenues of social mobility, two types of stratification identified. Two types of stratification identified. ഏതൊക്കെ? Two types എന്ന് പറയുമ്പോൾ broadly two categories. Open and closed, right? Open and closed. അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഇങ്ങനെ എഴുതു. ഓപ്പൺ സിസ്റ്റം കംപ്ലീറ്റ് ആയിട്ട് എഴുതണേ. സിസ്റ്റം ആൻഡ് ക്ലോസ്ഡ് സിസ്റ്റം. ഓപ്പൺ സിസ്റ്റത്തിൻ്റെ അടിയിൽ ബുള്ളറ്റ് പോയിന്റിൽ എഴുത്. ഹിയർ അവന്യൂസ് ആർ അവൈലബിൾ ഓർ നോട്ട് അവൈലബിൾ? Open system means you can move. So choices are available or not available? Available. Avenues are available. Right. Avenues are available. What are the avenues? It could be either education. You get education, you can move. Or you marry, you can move. Right? Can you marry and become a poor person? Can you marry and you can become a poor person? No, only rich. You are from a very rich family and you love someone who is very poor and you ran away. Then what's your status now? Is that upward mobility or downward mobility? Downward. You were rich, you had all facilities but gone now. You ran away, right? But opposite is also there. What if this person, the poor person, now what if the marriage is accepted by that family? Then this poor person will become rich. His styles and everything, or her styles will change. So it can give both. Education, you get education, can you become poor? Not sure. There are many educated people also. Okay, so we can't be sure about that. That's why I said just that, nothing is purely open or closed. So education is an avenue, marriage is an avenue, this making money, business success. Okay. So evidence is no avenues available. No avenues available. That's a closed system. Open system achievement oriented. Achievement oriented means you study, you get education, you make money, it's your achievement, you can go to the top. Closed system ascription oriented. Ascribed status means by birth. Ascription, like you born as a Brahmin, you end as a Brahmin. You born as a Dalit, you end as a Dalit. So that's ascription oriented. One more line you write there. Practically, there are no systems which are perfectly open or closed. Practically, there are no systems which are perfectly open or closed. There is a gap between what is normatively acceptable and the structural reality. Normatively acceptable and the structural reality.
Why did you leave me?
Why did you betray your own heart?
Okay, for example, okay, tell me in the example. So we are just saying there is no system which is perfectly open or closed. There is always a gap between what we see in practice and what is written in theory. Which example you will write? In case of class system, we say it is open, but is it perfectly open for all? No, right? There are some hindrances. That poor will have less choices and chance than the rich person, whether it is in terms of education or healthcare or whatever it is. Access is very less, right? Similarly, even though you say caste is closed theoretically, but practically chances are there through Sanskritization like that. We'll discuss that later. Just write this example. For example, class system is considered to be normatively open class system is considered to be normatively open, but in reality there are structural hindrances in the movement of person from one strata to other. Pen undo separate extra pen boyo. Where undo extra undo? Okay, example. നമ്മളിപ്പോൾ എഴുതിയത് ക്ലാസ് അല്ലേ, കാസ്റ്റ് കൂടെ എഴുത്. caste system is considered closed in theory. Caste system is considered closed in theory, but some avenues of social mobility were always present. Okay, next paragraph. Different types of social stratification can be identified on the basis of various dimensions. First one, age set system. Complete ആയിട്ട് system തന്നെ എഴുതണേ. Age set system. First one, what is the dimension? Just write dimension here. Completely dimension എഴുതണം. What is the dimension? Age. So do we have that stratification here? Not that extreme, like all of you will be in the almost similar age, but between you and me there is a big difference, right? So dimension here is age. So it could be like 0 to 10 one group, 10 to 20 another group, you may be in 20 to 30, right? Another group, so another group, like that, different age groups. Is it open or closed? This is like this, right? 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30, or 0 to 25, 25 to 50, 50 to 75. Open or closed? You are 20, let's say you are 23, 24, 25. Can you move to the next when you get into that age? So open or not? But can you come down? So is it open or closed? It's closed. Okay, it's better, then you can ignore that, right? So just write dimension is age, and then you write old, young. So now it is possible because of all this longevity, anti-aging and all, but still the number won't come down. You can look young. Second, slave system. But age is just a number, right? Slave system. Open, okay, right, theoretically open system. Dimension, you write ownership. ownership. So basically slave system, we discussed this in detail in Karl Marx. Slave system, here ownership of land. Those who are the owners of the land, they will be at the top. Those who are not the peasants will be at the bottom, right? There are two simple classes, masters and slaves. So previously you have written classes like old and young. Here you write masters and slave. Classes, masters and slaves. Or strata, classes nalla, sorry, strata. Classes is same aanu karanam kind of income പോലത്തെ ഒരു പരിപാടിയാണ് ഇവിടെ ownership. Two stratas, masters, M-A-S-T-E-R-S, masters, and slaves, S-L-A-V-E-S. When in bracket, you can write in bracket, doesn't exist nowadays. Oh, sorry. ആ ഒരു ഹെഡിങ് മാറ്റിയിട്ട് എസ്റ്റേറ്റ് സിസ്റ്റം എന്നാക്ക്, സ്ലേവ് സിസ്റ്റം അടുത്തത് എഴുതാം. കാരണം ഓണർഷിപ്പ് ഓഫ് ലാൻഡ് ഇസ് ബേസിക്കലി എസ്റ്റേറ്റ് സിസ്റ്റം. സ്ലേവ് സിസ്റ്റം എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ ഇറ്റ്സ് അഗെയിൻ ഓണർഷിപ്പ്, ബട്ട് ഓണർഷിപ്പ് ഓഫ് വൺ പേഴ്സൺ ഓഫ് അനദർ പേഴ്സൺ. ഡയമെൻഷൻ ഓണർഷിപ്പ് തന്നെയാണ്, പക്ഷെ ഐ തോട്ട് ഇറ്റ്സ് എസ്റ്റേറ്റ് സിസ്റ്റം. ബട്ട് നൗ യു കറക്റ്റ് ഇറ്റ്. ഡോണ്ട് വാണ്ട് ടു കറക്റ്റ് വാട്ട് ഇസ് റിട്ടൺ അണ്ടർ ദാറ്റ്, ജസ്റ്റ് കറക്റ്റ് ദ ഹെഡിങ്, സോ ഇറ്റ് വിൽ ബി കറക്റ്റ്. ഹെഡിങ് എന്ത് ചെയ്തു നിങ്ങൾ? എസ്റ്റേറ്റ് സിസ്റ്റം എന്നാക്കിയോ? സോ എസ്റ്റേറ്റ് സിസ്റ്റം ആണ് എന്ത്? മാസ്റ്റേഴ്സ്. അവിടെ മിസ്റ്റേക്ക് വന്നപ്പോൾ റൈറ്റ്. ഓക്കെ, അവൻ ഒരു കാര്യം ചെയ്യൂ, കീപ് ഇറ്റ് ആസ് സ്ലേവ് സിസ്റ്റം ആൻഡ് ദെൻ ഓണർഷിപ്പ് ഓഫ് ലാൻഡ് എന്നാണോ എഴുതിയത്? ലാൻഡ് എന്നുള്ളത് കട്ട് ചെയ്യുക, ഓണർഷിപ്പ് എന്ന് മാത്രം എഴുതുക. ഓണർഷിപ്പ് മാത്രമേ എഴുതുള്ളൂ, അപ്പോൾ ഓക്കെയാണ്. സ്ലേവ് സിസ്റ്റം എന്നുള്ള ഹെഡിങ്, സ്ലേവ് സിസ്റ്റം ഇസ് എ ഹെഡിങ്, കീപ് ഇറ്റ് ദ സെയിം ആൻഡ് കീപ് ഇറ്റ് മാസ്റ്റേഴ്സ് ആൻഡ് സ്ലേവ്സ് ഓണർഷിപ്പ്. മീൻസ് വാട്ട്? ഐ ഓൺ യു ഓർ യു ഓൺ മീ. That's what I told. This doesn't exist nowadays. Okay? അടിമത്തം, സിമ്പിൾ, ആ ഒരു പരിപാടി. ഓണർഷിപ്പ് ഓഫ് ലാൻഡ് എന്ന് എവിടെയോ ഞാൻ കണ്ടപ്പോൾ അത് ജസ്റ്റ് ഗോട്ട് കൺഫ്യൂസ്ഡ്. അടുത്തതാണത് എസ്റ്റേറ്റ് സിസ്റ്റം. ഇവിടെ ഡയമെൻഷൻ, അടുത്തത് എസ്റ്റേറ്റ് സിസ്റ്റം. ഡയമെൻഷനിൽ എഴുതു ഓണർഷിപ്പ് ഓഫ് ലാൻഡ്. So again, have you understood both the difference? Slave system, when I say ownership, means ownership of a person, right? Masters and slaves. Here, ownership of land. Lords and serfs. Two class stratas you write, lords and serf. S-E-R-F, serf. Lords, landlords, serfs. ഒരു കാറ്റഗറി കൂടെ ഉണ്ട്, ക്ലർജി, പ്രീസ്റ്റ് ആണത്. ഓക്കെ, റൈറ്റ് ദാറ്റ് ഓൾസോ, പ്രീസ്റ്റ്, ക്ലർജി. സോ ലോർഡ്സ്, you can write completely landlords, means owners of the land. Serfs, who are the people who work on the land. In between there is a community, priest, the clergy. നിങ്ങൾ ഈ ഫ്രഞ്ച് റവല്യൂഷൻ ഒക്കെ പഠിക്കുമ്പോൾ you will cover this anyway. Medieval ടൈമിലുള്ളൊരു ഗ്രൂപ്പാണ്. Both we will see in Marx anyway. Okay, so slave system, it's the ownership of man by man. Okay, you own another man, so that's masters and slaves. The person who is having that ownership is the master, the other person is the slave. Now here it is ownership of the land. Here in your land someone else is working, so you are the landlord. Someone who is working, he is the serf, and there is another group also, that is the clergy. Okay, so ownership, here it is ownership of land. Next, okay, but open ആണോ ക്ലോസ്ഡ് ആണോ അത്? ലാൻഡ് ഓണർഷിപ്പിൻ്റെ കാര്യത്തിൽ ഓപ്പൺ ആണ്. യു ഓൺ ദ ലാൻഡ്, യു ബിക്കം ലാൻഡ് ലോഡ്. തിയററ്റിക്കലി ഓപ്പൺ എന്ന് എഴുതിക്കോ, തിയററ്റിക്കലി ഓപ്പൺ. ക്ലാസ് സിസ്റ്റം, ഓപ്പൺ ആണോ ക്ലോസ് ആണോ? ഓപ്പൺ, ക്ലാസ് സിസ്റ്റം. ഇവിടെ ഡയമെൻഷൻ എന്തൊക്കെയാണ്? ഡയമെൻഷൻ എന്താ? ഇൻകം, occupation, education, etc. income, occupation, education, etc. Strata, so upper class, middle class, lower class. Just write one more line. Classes are the structural property of industrial class, industrial structure. Classes are the structural property of industrial society. Industrial society. So basically, we will see three different types of society later. One is a slave society, ancient times. Okay, where masters, slaves will be there. Then comes a feudal society. That's the medieval time, where lord, serf will be there. Then comes a capitalist society, which is based on industrialization, production, etc. That is where upper class, lower class, middle class. That's why I've made you to write classes are the product of industrial society. Okay, traditional society നിന്ന് പോന്ന് ഇൻഡസ്ട്രിയൽ സൊസൈറ്റിയിലേക്ക് എപ്പോഴാണ് ക്ലാസ്. അതിന് കാരണം എന്താ? ബിക്കോസ് നൗ യു നീഡ് ലോവർ ലെവൽ വർക്കേഴ്സ്, മാനേജേഴ്സ് ടു മോണിറ്റർ ദം, സൂപ്പർവൈസേഴ്സ്, ആൻഡ് ദെൻ ദ ക്യാപിറ്റലിസ്റ്റ്. സോ ഡിഫറെന്റ് സെക്ഷൻസ്. Okay, that's a typical property of industrial society. Right, next, caste system. Caste system. Dimension, ritual occupation. Brahmins, pujarimar, right? Brahmins are doing that ritual occupation which is related to puja and all those. Kshatriyas, wars, fighters. Shudras or Vaishyas, business, traders, right? Shudras, other jobs, service providers, right? So it is based on ritual occupation. Right, 5 stratas. 5 stratas. ഇതൊക്കെ ഡീറ്റെയിൽ ആയിട്ട് നമ്മൾ പഠിക്കും കേട്ടോ പേപ്പർ 2-ൽ. ഇപ്പം അതിൽ ഡീപ്പായിട്ടൊന്നും പോകണ്ട. നമുക്കിവിടെ ജസ്റ്റ് ഒറ്റ ലൈൻ എഴുതാനുള്ളൂ നിങ്ങൾക്ക്. 5 സ്ട്രാറ്റ: ബ്രാഹ്മൺ, ക്ഷത്രിയ, വൈശ്യ, ശൂദ്ര, ദളിത്. ബ്രാഹ്മൺ, ക്ഷത്രിയ, വൈശ്യ, ശൂദ്ര. ബ്രാഹ്മൺ, ക്ഷത്രിയ, വൈശ്യ, ശൂദ്ര, ദളിത്. This are part of Varna structure. And this is Avarna. Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, Dalit. Okay. Open or closed? Closed. But right, theoretically closed. Closed in the theoretically closed. But some avenues of social mobility is present. Some avenues of social mobility is present. Now listen, what is that avenue I told you? How you can change the caste? Sanskritization. You will migrate. Is there any other option which comes to your mind? Girls in our option under marriage. Why? Because you are a Brahmin, let's say a girl and a boy, right? Now, boy is a Brahmin, girl is a Vaishya. Now, when you marry, girl will be coming to whose caste? Brahmin's caste. It's like that. The status will naturally get elevated. Yeah, there are some maybe hindrances, Brahmin rules and everything is there, but even though you are a Vaishya, you will be coming like this. But never the reverse. Boy will never, coming down just because he married a Vaishya. Right? But similarly, this girl is a Brahmin, but she married a Shudra. Then, can the Shudra become a Brahmin? Now, girl is Brahmin, boy is Shudra. Whether boy status is elevated? No. Girl status will change to Shudra. So, in terms of marriage, caste-based mobility, that will happen only to female. if a lower caste female marrying an upper caste, this lower caste Vaishya marrying upper caste, upside mobility. This is called as hypergamy. I will discuss this in paper 2 in detail. I'm just telling you one example. You don't break your head. Leave it if you didn't understood. Only female have this. Now, upper caste female marrying a lower caste, her status will come down. This is hypogamy, downward mobility. This is upward mobility, upper, hypogamy, downward. Now, this I told in terms of what? Caste. But if it is rich poor, then there is no such thing, right? A female marrying a poor person, she is rich means he will also be taken to, if it is accepted, and if she have the property, then if they are mutually happy, then his status also will get elevated. But in terms of caste, it's the male status is what you get. Whether the lady is from upper caste or lower caste, it doesn't matter. But in terms of class, this matters. Because money is what ultimately important, right? Nothing else. Okay, now, next one, racial stratification, RACIAL, racial stratification. Okay, listen, one more. This is called hypergamy, this is called hypogamy. Also, this is called, you will see these terms, anuloma in Indian terms, okay, and this is called pratiloma. This is negative, right? Your better status is coming down. So, prati, you can remember, negative, pratiloma. Here, your lower status is going up, which is positive, anuloma. Both are hypergamy and anuloma are same. Hypogamy, pratiloma is same. Just write somewhere in your margin, we are going to study in detail in paper 2. Leave it as such. Racial stratification. Dimension, what? Race or biological characteristics. Okay, biological characteristics like skin color, hair, etc. Racial, race or biological characteristics. What are the stratas? Just write races, different races. Open or closed? Closed. Write one more, presently declared illegal. Racial. Next, ethnic stratification. Ethnicity, ethnic means what? A culture, right? A tribal group is an ethnic group. So those who follow similar culture is an ethnic group. So write dimension, culture. Ethnic stratification. ETHNIC, ethnic stratification. Dimension, culture. Theoretically closed. Theoretically closed. Okay. അടുത്തത് gender stratification. Dimension, gender, or cultural concepts which are attached with each sex. Cultural concepts which are attached with each sex. And you have to edukota. Sex is a biological concept. Gender, you can say, a sociological concept. So sex is biological difference. Gender means there is an inequality. two stratas, male, female. Two stratas, male, female. Open or closed? Theoretically closed. You need to write like that. Theoretically closed, but practical avenues are available. Practically, some avenues are available. Ethnicity നമുക്ക് അങ്ങനെ പല സ്ട്രാറ്റ എന്ന് പറയാൻ പറ്റില്ല ബേസ്ഡ് ഓൺ കൾച്ചർ. സോ ലൈക്ക് വൺ ട്രൈബൽ ഗ്രൂപ്പ് ഇസ് വൺ സ്ട്രാറ്റ. നമുക്ക് ജനറലൈസ് ചെയ്ത് പോയി മെയിൽ ഫീമെയിൽ എന്നോ അപ്പർ ക്ലാസ് എന്ന് പറയണ മാതിരി പറയാൻ പറ്റില്ല. ദർ ആർ എൻ നമ്പർ ഓഫ് സ്ട്രാറ്റാസ്. ഓക്കെ, വൺ ട്രൈബൽ ഗ്രൂപ്പ്, വൺ കൾച്ചറൽ ഗ്രൂപ്പ് ഇസ് വൺ സ്ട്രാറ്റ, ദ അതർ ഗ്രൂപ്പ് ഇസ് അതർ സ്ട്രാറ്റ, ബട്ട് ബിറ്റ്വീൻ ദം ഇറ്റ് ഇസ് ക്ലോസ്ഡ്. എനി ട്രൈബൽ ഗ്രൂപ്പ് ഇസ് എ ഗ്രൂപ്പ്. അപ്പോൾ നമുക്കത് സ്ട്രാറ്റിഫൈ എന്ന് പറയാൻ പറ്റില്ല. So basically what you need to do is, now what we have done with social stratification, it's 4 steps and everything. Now dimension. So they'll ask you separately dimensions of stratification. Then you need to write about stratification and talk about this. And conclude with mobility briefly by mentioning. That I will discuss tomorrow or day after tomorrow. Otherwise they ask you about stratification. Still, you need to talk about dimension and different stratification system. Because if they are asking about stratification just by writing inequality or difference inequality stratification and the 4 process, is that complete? No, I need to tell these are the different stratification system. I can see gender stratification system, I can see slave system, I can see estate system, I can see class system, I can see ethnic based system, right? I need to explain all these, and you just need to mention 1 or 2 lines for each of these. It is not going, that's why I have given in bullet point. I can make you write paragraph also. But there is of no use, not required. Just write the heading, tell the dimension, tell whether it is open or closed, tell what are the stratas. So in gender, what I need to say, it is practically closed, and this is the dimension that the cultural assigned role, and then we'll say theoretically closed. That's it. This is what you need to mention by saying gender system. Similarly, age system. Similarly, estate system. Just mention the name of the system and couple of lines, whether it is open or closed, right? And what are the dimension, what are the stratas which are available. Now, what we can do is we'll write the questions and then we'll stop for today, and then tomorrow we'll cover the theories of stratification. Just give a heading, functional theory, functionalist theories of stratification. Functionalist theories of stratification. Write questions. First one, write questions, okay? Social stratification exists in every society. Social stratification exists in every society. Discuss in the light of various theories of social stratification. Various theories of social stratification. Discuss in the light of various theories of social stratification. See, social stratification exists in only Kerala, Tamil Nadu, only in India, US also. So what does that mean? If that exists in every society, it has some functions to do. Otherwise it won't exist. If it is very bad, then it won't exist. At least in the modern society it won't exist. So it has certain function to do. That's what the functionalists talk about. And what are the function according to Davis and Moore? Fulfilling the most important position with the most talented people. That's the function of stratification. Right? So higher rewards are given to attract the talented people, because that help in the functioning of society. If you don't give reward, you can't get talented people, society won't function. And when you are giving reward, naturally, different stratification will be created. If you don't give reward, you won't get talented people, you won't get the jobs and functions done. So it affects the society. Second question, critically examine the structural functional theories of stratification. The structural functional theories of stratification. So here what you need to write? You need to write about Parson and Davis and Moore both. If they ask specifically about Davis and Moore, only this. Next, discuss. Now onwards you start getting the flavor of theories. We are starting theories. Now it's theories, but theories are, this is what the theory in sociology, not the theory that you have learned in physics or chemistry. This is it. It's very simple. Okay. Next, discuss Davis and Moore theory of social stratification. Discuss Davis and Moore theory of social stratification. How Marxian theories reacted to it. How Marxian theories reacted to it. Okay, so we are studying both anyway. You will have to write. Marxian theory will be the opposite. So we'll write the theories tomorrow, but will you forget it when we come tomorrow? So this is what, right? Davis and Moore theory. We have seen some propositions, and then Melvin Tumin come with objections, and then again clarification. So can you recollect what are the propositions? Society is made up of different positions. Some are functionally more important than others, and functionally more important position need to be filled with the most talented people. To attract the talented people, high rewards are attached to these positions, so that they will have to undergo training and sacrifices to get that talent. So social stratification is nothing but it's a system which reward or that fulfilling the most important position with the most talented people by giving differential rewards. That's how stratification is created. Now the question is how to judge the relative importance of a position. That's the question. And rewards are considered functional only if equal opportunity is there. But practically that is not possible. Equal opportunity to all is not possible. So rewards are necessary, and at the same time, considering this, judging the relative importance of a position, it is difficult but not impossible. There are two ways. One is to what extent that position is unique. Second is to the degree upon this position dependent upon the degree on which one position depended upon the other. That's it. So we'll write this tomorrow, but not only this, we'll write the entire evolution of theories. That's not important. Maybe I'll make you to write around 150 words, but hardly 30-40 words is what you can take. That's the intro part. Then talk about Parson, then talk about this and criticism also. Okay, any questions? Done?